Welcome to the Supreme Lending Dallas Show, where you'll be introduced to different speakers on different topics, and you'll meet different guests for each of our episodes. Let's get started.
Hi, this is John Yacos from Supreme Lending. Thank you for tuning into the Supreme Lending Dallas Show today. Today we're going to be talking about appraisals and what that means to you as an agent, as a consumer, both on the buy side and on the sell side. To do so, we brought in Bart Miller from MyAMC, who is the VP of Client Relations, and we'll introduce him here shortly. But he is a special guest, and to tee up the appraisal portion of this, because we like free stuff, I'll be offering a credit for $495, which is the price of an appraisal at Supreme, for any new loan applicant that applies between February 1st and the 28th of this month. That'll be reimbursed to you at closing, but again, a free appraisal. It doesn't matter if you're purchasing a home, refinancing, or pulling some cash out. That'll be covered by myself personally, and so stay tuned for some additional information. So without any further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Bart Miller here. He's going to talk about his background and basically his time in the industry and the so what today. Bart, thanks for coming on.
Thank you. Again, my name is Bart Miller. I'm VP of Client Relations at MyAMC in Dallas. We're a nationwide AMC. We manage the appraisal process for Supreme across the nation and other lenders as well. I've been doing appraisal management for over 30 years now, and there's not much that we don't deal with on a week in and week out basis that we can't help you with.
Well, thanks, Bart. And I tell you, it's pretty wild times right now in the purchase market here in the DFW, which is going to be the focus of the conversation. It's not unique across the metroplexes throughout the United States, but with our core audience being here in DFW, talk to us about what you're seeing and how appraisers are keeping up with the market trends. Where a house that was in Frisco has got 26 offers on and it's selling for $30,000 over list, that same house 6 months ago maybe would have a handful of offers and would be going at face value. What are the appraisers doing to keep up with that market demand? So when we do have that kind of a demand signal from the consumer, we have appraisals that can reflect that new price point.
Well, the appraisers are required to take that into consideration. They don't necessarily have any real care whether there's 20 offers over or 12 offers over, but the amount of properties, the number of properties that are on the market in the area where the subject property that we're talking about is a big impact. And when everything's having a contract put on them that same day, next day, 3 or 4 days, then that's a strong signal that there's a real lack of inventory. And when there's a lack of inventory, it's common sense. Prices are going to go up. Houses are going to get bid above list price. And that upward pressure on prices has to be reflected in the appraisal from a historical analysis, looking back to what was going on 6 months ago to what's going on now. And if you've got 10 pending properties in a neighborhood, then you try to find out from you good people out there in the field what's going on with each one of those, so we can find out, is the market jumping up 5% over the last 6 months, 10% or more?
So if I'm an agent and I've got my listing, how am I making sure that my seller, my client, is going to have decent valuation on that new appraisal? Obviously, there's appraisal waiver forms that can help prevent any kind of shortage on appraisal. But if I'm trying to put my best foot forward as a list agent and also on the buy side, and we're telling the consumer, hey, this is a wild market right now, this house is going to be going above list, what am I doing to make sure that the lender, in this scenario, Supreme Lending, has all the information they need that they can give to the appraiser to make sure that they're going to get full value on that property?
Well, when you're in a market where buyers are out there shopping for homes in Frisco where there's no inventory, they're pretty educated because they've probably already put offers in on multiple houses and been shut down. So if they're not educated when they start shopping for a home, it becomes very evident quickly that they've got to be aggressive in their offers. And so when that's done, you've got a consumer on the buy side that's pretty educated, and you're explaining to your seller when you do the list, here's what's gone on. This is what it looked like a year ago. This is what it's looking like now. And this is what we think is going to be going on in the next, it's just an extrapolation. This is what's going to be going on over the next 6 months. And if they need to sell, they have to make a decision along with your help to settle on a list price. Whether or not it gets bid way above, marginally above, or you settle, that's going to be the job of you as their agent to pick out the best offer. And obviously the best offer is not always the highest offer. So once that's done, The appraisers are looking at the same thing. If they can see that the upward trend historically has been 6%, 8%, or 10%, and they bring it to current, which is the day we do the appraisal, and there's pending sales out there, you should be hearing from some of these appraisers saying, what do you got going on with these pending sales? And there are disclosure issues around that, but they can get an indication of how far above list they're going and draw that extrapolation out. So if prices aren't straight line increasing 5% a year, they were flat last January, and then in 6 months ago they were up 10%, and now they're up 25%. It's that curve that's going to determine whether that offer's right, in the middle, high or low. It's not easy. Right. And we coach the appraisers all the time on how to analyze that data. Most of them in the market are pretty good at it, though.
Right. And to your point about the Frisco client being a little bit more savvy than some other areas, not just Frisco, but that price point, most people, this is their second or third home. This isn't a first-time home buyer on that. Not to say that you're going to have all the education in the world at a second or third time purchase price, especially in this market. But agents are doing a lot more, at least from what I've seen, in educating their client on this is what's going to happen if we do have a short appraisal. People are more prepared, as opposed to having the shock of where they get the initial excitement of getting the contract or getting under contract on the property, and then the dismay if the appraisal comes in a little bit lighter than what they had planned for.
Right.
So, and that's just really comes into the education, to your point, on the front end to make sure people are prepared.
Prepare them. And new construction's undergoing a lot of pressure for expense. Cost of construction shot way up. So it's kind of running hand in hand. North Texas is a really strong new construction market. A lot of areas of the country, not so much. So resales and neighborhoods that are developed also compete with those. And as they go, so goes the market in a lot of cases.
Right. And that's actually a good point to bring up. So if we're talking about a new home, new construction specifically, and you get the base model, and we'll call it at $600,000, insert Salina Prosper.
Sure.
And then you want to get all the Gucci stuff in there with the stainless steel appliances and the quartz countertops.
Like your house.
Oh, exactly right. I don't think that we have new construction in Farmers Branch these days, but then construction there stopped about 6 decades ago.
Yeah.
But to the point, so I don't know that sales agents with the home builder are necessarily going out of their way to talk to their client that all these add-ons don't necessarily add into the appraised value. Is there something that a buyer or a consumer in general, if we're looking at upgrading to a quartz countertop or some sort of amenity in the house, is going to get a bigger bang for their buck if they're going to put that into their purchase?
You need to be very aware of what's going on in the market. If every home in the neighborhood has quartz countertops, for example, then you want to follow that trend. If every home has the additional third car garage, you probably want to follow that trend. But if nobody in the neighborhood anywhere in there has a pool, that's a buyer preference. The quartz, any upgrades that you do, we pretty much treat as buyer preferences. This is what I want because this is the way I want the house to look. I'm getting the opportunity to design this myself, more or less, with the finishes. And those things may or may not return value at the same rate in an established market like Farmers Branch, where all the houses are the same, and you know what you're getting. So it's just you counsel your buyers to be aware of that. You all know it. I mean, if you see a couple that goes in and they're wanting every amenity they throw at them, there's going to be a diminishing return at some point.
Yep.
Find the key things, focus them on that. They don't need crystal chandeliers, and if they want them, then they need to be prepared to pay for them.
Yeah, and that's well said.
Yeah.
Well, I think that wraps it up for me today. Do you have any save rounds that you'd like to go over here at the end?
I'm just glad to be here.
Bart, we're obviously happy to have you as well. And just to reiterate, the special that we'll be offering, and this is exclusive to John Yacos, that we'll be reimbursing you at closing your appraisal fee for any new loan applicant that applies between the 1st of February and the 28th, and that's a $495 value. Thanks.